What's up? Hold on a second now. Let's get some people up in this bitch. Let some people get up in here and we'll get started. What's up, Raider Nation? We just took a big, fat, freaking L. And guess what? Raiders are now 0-3. Butt of everybody's jokes, spent a ton of money on the offense, and these guys just can't put it together. And I'm looking at this game. I'm going over just what happened in this game. And I'm going to start with the negatives. And, I usually start with the positives. I'm going to start with the negatives right here. Too many drops. Too many penalties in inopportune times, and just poor play calling. Josh McDaniels is brought in to be this offensive genius, and we keep seeing these trick plays that aren't doing shit. Darren Waller gets paid all this money. These drops are freaking killing us. The drop in the end, or the ball that bounces off his hands in the end zone that leads to an interception. The drops kill us. These are things that cannot happen. The right tackle position is completely atrocious. I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat it. It's atrocious. It's horrible. That said, let's look at some of the positives. This team can play some ball. This team has some playmakers. Mac Hollins stepped up big. Mac Hollins came out there and he played the game with heart. He had a career game. One thing I want to see is, week one, we see Derek forcing the ball to Devontae. Now we don't see Devontae really getting the ball. He had a touchdown today, but we're not getting the ball to Devontae Adams. You bring in the best wide receiver in football, give him the damn ball. What I like to see in the second half is that they started running the ball. They started, being a little more physical. They let Derek Carr deal a little bit, and that worked out well for them. The Raiders were within inches of getting the game. They were right there and just kept kicking their own ass, kept killing themselves. Let's go to the chat, though. Let's see what the chat's talking about. See what people are see what people are thinking, what people are feeling. Because am I missing something? Did I not see something, or what is it? We see here from Nacho Diaz, we're killing ourselves. Absolutely. The Raiders are killing themselves. They came out there and just shot themselves in the foot. And it's frustrating to see, because this is a team that should be winning. This is a team that should be putting up 30 points a game. This is a team that should be doing big things on offense. And we cannot seem to get it together. Defensively, what's going on? Look, I know guys are hurt. Nate Hobbs went out with a concussion. Rock Ya-Sin was out. He's going with an injury. Guys got to step up. Denzel Perryman's been out. Traylon Merrick's out. We could talk about injuries. We could talk about excuses. Those are excuses. I can talk about reasons. Reasons are the reason why things happen, but we cannot make excuses for this team. That's the one thing I don't want to see is that we can't make excuses. Schmucky the Raider bet said the offense is not good. D held them to 0 points in the second half, and the Oak could barely get points. I'll give you that, except for the fact that the Raiders did come back in the second half. They came back. They were within it. It's just drops. I mean, Keelan Cole had a drop in the end zone. Darren Waller had a drop in the end zone that led to an interception. Those are the things that you can't have happen. So, yeah, I mean, I will say that the offense wasn't great, but the offense was pretty good. I mean, those are things that you have to get better at, though. It's frustrating watching these games. It's frustrating when, last week you're up 20 points at halftime and you let the Cardinals come back on you. It's frustrating when you're in a situation where, the Raiders are in a position to potentially come back and they just can't capitalize on it. Those are the things that are frustrating. Me, I'm a positive guy. I like to be positive. So I'm going to get out of the negative here and let's look forward to what we've got. So next week, we've got the Denver Broncos. They're not playing good football right now. They have a bad coach as well. They've got the Niners this week. I think they're going to get their asses kicked by the Niners. You've got Russell Wilson, who's the corniest man on the planet. Hopefully the Raiders get some guys back. Hopefully the Raiders get some defense healthy, and they can put something together because, the Raiders need a win. The Raiders need a win. This is, we've now gone from must wins to if you don't win, I'm I'm gonna start drinking bleach. You got Edgar here. I'd give Josh McDaniels the boot. We have too many weapons and we have too much money on offense for us to not put up points. The play calling is awful. Why are we not running the ball? Yeah. Maybe we give Rich Bisaccia a call and bring him back. Josh is taking too long to play calls. I believe that. He's indecisive in his play calling. If he's indecisive in his play calling, then Derek Carr just needs to take over and just start calling the plays at the line. Derek just needs to pull a Johnny Moxon and say, screw it. We're running these plays. This is what we're going with. Because the Raiders got to do something. They got to figure it out. They got to put it together. 0-3 is not a good look. Here's the thing. The AFC West keeps giving you chances. You've got the Chiefs who lost today. You've got the Broncos who are probably going to lose. I'm curious to see what happens in this Charger game. So I posted a stat that's kind of interesting is that the last quarterback to start 0-9 on the road won his 10th road game week 3, and that was against the Chargers. That was Peyton Manning. Now, Trevor Lawrence is 0-9 on the road. This is week 10 or week 3. This is his 10th road game. There's an opportunity there for him. We'll see what Doug Peterson can do with that team. But, the Raiders don't need anybody to help them. The Raiders need to help themselves. So that's it. I just want to come on here, get pissed off a little bit, blow off some steam. Raider Nation, we it's still early. It's still early. We can do this. We can get it back. I think that the Raiders just need to pull it together. They need to get themselves together. They need to get their heads out of their asses. They need to have a come to Jesus meeting in the locker room. The captains need to step up. They need to get people, accountable, hold them accountable, make guys make plays. Guys need to get healthy. You got the Broncos this week. You have the Chiefs, or you have the Broncos next week. You have the Chiefs the following week. Then you got a bye week. Hopefully you get some guys back by the bye week, but you need to beat the Broncos. And hopefully, look, I'm going to tell you right now, the way the Raiders been playing, we're going to get smoked by the Chiefs. If the Raiders can pull it together, then hopefully you can get a two-game run going into the half or going into the bye week and put something together and try to pull out a win from that. The Raiders can pull out a win against the Kansas City Chiefs. That is a huge, huge victory right there. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but let's focus right now on guys getting healthy, guys getting back. Hopefully, you get Hunter Renfrow back next week. You get Andre James back next week, and getting these guys back on the field, back making plays. But I think those are the biggest things that we focus on right now. I got someone in the comments here saying fire McDaniels. I'm not gonna hop on the fire McDaniels train just yet, but something needs to happen. Changes need to be made. Whether it be give Derek more flexibility in play calling, get more aggressive in play calling, whatever it is, changes need to be made. The Raiders have to make a big change. And then defensively, the Raiders just look, they're playing good ball defensively. Realistically, they shut them out in the second half. The Raiders shut them out in the second half. The defense did their job. Max Crosby was flying around there. He had, I believe it was 2 tackles for a loss, a sack. He had, the sack fumble that the Titans ended up recovering. So they're flying around. Chandler Jones needs to get more active in there. We saw him today. But the other thing is the Raiders need an interior push on the defensive line. There's no push right there on the interior of the defensive line. So those are the things that we look at. Offensively, offensive line has to get better. Derek was out there using his legs today. I like to see that. Decision making has to be quicker. Guys can't drop balls. Continue to run the ball. Josh Jacobs is running the ball well. Get Zamir White involved. I don't know why you draft a guy. Use him. I liked what Brandon Bolden was doing out there. I liked what Josh was doing out there. But now get Zamir White involved because I think that Zamir White can do some things, and I want to see what Zeus can do. With 3 weeks in, it's like you don't want to talk about firing people yet. You don't want to talk about trading people. You don't want to talk about getting crazy. But you're behind the 8 ball already. You're behind the 8 ball, and you have guys that you don't know what they're going to do, and are they going to be able to play? And I'm mad. I want some wins. I want to get some wins on the board. I want to see some things happen. That's what I want. Raider Nation, let's get it. Let's get a win next week. We're going to be tapping back in later. I'll be tapping in with y'all. But I'm getting out of here right now. I'm done. I'm done talking about this.